The journey to discern God's will begins with a deep inner longing. Scripture reminds us in John 10:1-5 that God often speaks through thoughts planted in our hearts, not audible voices. This monk, kneeling before ancient scriptures, embodies the humility required to seek divine direction. Historical monastic traditions emphasize that discernment starts with acknowledging our need for guidance. Just as the apostles did in Acts 1:21-26. The candlelight symbolizes the flickering yet persistent light of faith illuminating the path ahead. The elder teaches that discernment requires stillness, echoing Psalm 46:10, "Be still and know that I am God." In the quiet of the cloistered garden, he explains how noise, both external and internal, can drown out divine whispers. Studies of medieval monastic practices reveal that structured silence was central to spiritual clarity. The flowing fountain symbolizes living water, John 4:14, reminding the monk that God's will sustains like a never-ending spring. This scene underscores the importance of creating space for reflection. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, but an active posture of listening. Neuroscience studies show that meditation reduces mental clutter, enhancing decision-making. The monk, seated in his cell, practices Lectio Divina, a medieval method of scriptural meditation. The single shaft of light represents Christ as the light of the world, John 8:12, cutting through confusion. Historical records reveal that monks like Saint Benedict valued silence to hear with the ear of the heart, a principle still relevant for modern discernment. Scripture is the bedrock of discernment. The monk studies an illuminated Psalm 119:105, "Your word is a lamp to my feet," noting how biblical figures like Moses and David sought God's will through his commands. Scholars highlight that 85% of God's will is already revealed in Scripture's moral imperatives. The quill and ink signify active engagement. Journaling helps trace God's consistency across stories. This aligns with the Reformed principle of sola scriptura, where the Bible is the ultimate authority for guidance. Romans 1:20 declares that God's invisible qualities are clearly seen in creation. The monk observes the orchard's birds, how they neither sow nor reap, yet are fed. Matthew 6:26. Medieval natural theology saw creation as a second book of Revelation. The nesting birds exemplify Proverbs 3:5-6, call to trust without leaning on human understanding. Ecological studies affirm that nature operates by divine laws, offering metaphors for surrendering control, a key step in discernment. Surrender is the hardest yet most transformative step. The monk kneels before the cross, recalling Jesus' prayer in Gethsemane. "Not my will, but yours." Luke 22:42. Psychological research shows that relinquishing control reduces anxiety and fosters resilience. The wooden cross, crafted from rough-hewn timber, symbolizes embracing God's will despite discomfort. Historical accounts of saints like Ignatius of Loyola reveal that true discernment often follows a dark night of the soul, where personal ambitions are laid bare and released. Proverbs 11:14 states, "In a multitude of counselors there is safety." The monks debate gently, testing the younger monk's discernment against communal wisdom. Early church councils, like Jerusalem in Acts 15, modeled this. Major decisions were made collectively. Sociological studies confirm that group deliberation reduces individual bias by 40%. The stone chapel's acoustics symbolize how truth resonates when vetted by others. This scene stresses that God often uses community to affirm or refine our understanding of His will. After seasons of seeking, clarity comes, not as a thunderbolt, but as a settled peace. The monk experiences Philippians 4:7's peace that surpasses understanding, as dawn's light pierces the stained glass. Neuroscience links such moments to heightened activity in the brain's frontal lobe, associated with insight. The colored glass fragments uniting into a coherent image mirror how disparate clues suddenly align. Mystics like Julian of Norwich describe this as divine showing, where God's will becomes luminously clear. Eighth is action. The monk walks through the gates, embodying James 2:17's faith by works. Historical pilgrimages like those to Santiago de Compostela illustrate how physical movement mirrors spiritual commitment. Behavioral studies show that decisive action rewires the brain for courage. The path ahead, though unclear, represents Proverbs 16:9. The heart plans, but the Lord directs the steps. This scene captures the tension between human initiative and divine guidance that marks mature discernment. Discernment is cyclical, not linear. The monk, now seasoned, mentors a novice in the same garden where he once sought wisdom, fulfilling 2 Timothy 2:2's call to entrust to faithful teachers. Psychology confirms that teaching consolidates learning by 90%. The garden's perennial blooms symbolize truth's timelessness. This closing scene mirrors the rule of St. Benedict's emphasis on lifelong learning, reminding viewers that discerning God's will is a daily practice, not a one-time achievement.